What it is, yo. We are back with another Top 5 exclusive here on MacGuffinPodcast.com. I'm Alan.
I'm Brandi.
And today on Top 5, we're going to be talking our top 5 non-actors turned actors. Now, these are people who started out in the business not being known as actors, but then was like, you know what? I want to try my hand in film.
I'm going to parlay my fame and do a little something else.
Exactly. So I think we might have a few different ones, a few the same ones, but yeah.
All right.
You want to start?
Sure. Okay. My number 5, Justin Timberlake. Honestly, I love Justin Timberlake. I loved him before he was an actor. I will not apologize for my love of NSYNC or Justified, which is one of the best albums, best pop albums ever. I will put that out there. Okay. But then he's turned into a really solid actor. I loved his performance in The Social Network. I really, truly did. It was my number 1 movie of last year, and he was flawless, I thought. But even before that, I really liked his performance in a movie that I know both of us like, and that is Black Snake Moan. Yes. I mean, he was in a couple other spotty things. I despise Alpha Dog.
I was gonna point that out.
Yeah. What's that, Spence?
Love Guru.
The Love Guru. I never saw Southland Tales.
I mean, for me...
But I think he really has potential. Like, honestly, in The Social Network, he's great.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you that he has potential. I still think it's really too early to consider him a good actor. I mean, when you talk about The Social Network, he was pretty much playing like a charismatic, good-looking person, and that's pretty much who he is. I will agree with you about his music.
He had to do some really hard things. Like, he had to be sort of like on the edge, cracked out craziness towards the end of that movie, which I think is like a really hard thing to play.
I guess. I'll give you the music though. I really do like his music. I will admit that I know some NSYNC dance moves, but when it comes to acting,
you like Justified. You know you.
I know
like
I have
album.
Justified. I have that album, but as when it comes to being an actor, I need to see more from him. Okay, so that's all that is. Number 5. This guy is kind of a throwback to those old school like action guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. It's Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
I like The Rock.
I don't think this guy's going to be winning any Oscars anytime soon, but I think he's super charismatic.
Oh, that's his whole thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's all about, like, being a screen presence.
He is charisma. He honestly is.
From, like, Walking Tall, The Rundown, Gridiron Gang. And, I mean, he was one of the highlights of Fast 5 this year, to me. So, I mean, Dwayne Johnson, obviously, he's kind of a guy that you go to for a certain kind of feel, but yeah, obviously.
I love him.
So
I really
cool.
do.
I like him.
He's just fun. I've watched many a bad movie because he's in it, and I just like him. Cool. So I'm down with that pick. All right, my number 4 is one that I actually mentioned on a recent podcast as playing the coolest alien I'd ever seen, and that is David Bowie. I really wish he would do more acting. I think he is great, and I think he is sort of unfairly associated only with the ridiculous costuming of Labyrinth.
But he was good at Labyrinth.
Yeah,
though.
Gareth the Goblin King. He totally is great, right? But everyone just remembers like the wig and the package. But honestly, like, he's great. He's great in that. Before that, in his debut, he was great in The Man Who Fell to Earth that I was talking about. I love him in random cameos that he does in fun stuff like Zoolander and The Prestige. I think he's really good.
He was really good at it.
That whole sequence is probably my favorite one in that whole movie. And it's just one of those guys where it's like when you see him around, you just like, I wish I got to see him more often because he really doesn't act too often. Yeah,
I mean, I'm 100% with you on this one. From the few roles that I've seen him in, he's very, very good. But like you said, I would really like to see him, do more stuff. So
yeah, leaves you wanting more.
Yep. For my number 4 pick, I'm going to go with a guy who's definitely underrated. Started out as a rapper. No, it's not Eminem. It's Mos Def.
Oh, okay.
This is a guy who, makes great music. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to a lot of his stuff, but he is one of the great hip-hop artists out there, back in the day and even now. When it comes to acting, he's had some small roles in, like, Monsters Ball. He was one of the highlights of Brown Sugar. The Italian Job. He was very good in The Woodsman. I don't know if you saw that. That's the one with Kevin Bacon. And he did a TV movie with Alan Rickman called Something the Lord Made, and he was very, very good in that as well.
Most of I haven't seen, but I think of him as being from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That too,
as his like
16
breakthrough
blocks.
kind of, and
and he also does a lot of stage stuff. So I mean, I would like to see him get more in like bigger roles, more roles that are out there in the spotlight, because this is a really talented guy who can really do something with a role if given the chance. So definitely, most def.
Again, he's got the charisma factor. Like, that's the main thing that lets you carry over, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when I was making this list, there were a lot of picks that were from way back in the day that I thought about. Okay. And I honestly could have made this entire list from people like before 1960. But I narrowed it down. I just included one, and that is Frank Sinatra.
Okay. I really debated putting this on my list too.
He was kind of the original dude who was so famous for being a singer. And there were other people who were like that too, but they sort of like, when they launched into films, like if you were like Bing Crosby, you did musicals. If you were Elvis Presley, you did musicals kind of thing. But Frank Sinatra, like aside from, like Bye Bye Birdie or something like that, a lot of his breakthrough roles into films were just acting, like the Manchurian Candidate kind of
From
stuff.
Here to Eternity, Man with the Golden Arm.
Yes,
he's really good.
Yes. And he was very good at what he did. He took himself seriously, and he forced other people to take him seriously. And I think he kind of pioneered that road where it was like, just because you have a singing voice doesn't mean that you need to be crooning to the lady in every other scene in your movie. Like, you don't need to be Bing Crosby in order to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great pick. I mean, I was this close to putting it on there. Dwayne Johnson just beat him out.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Frankie.
Oh.
All right. Moving on to my number 3. My number 3 pick for non-actor turned actor started out as a rapper. No, it's not Eminem. It's Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg left the Funky Bunch, decided to do his own thing in acting. Just imagine if he kept going with a musical career, right? I mean, I think he made the smart choice on that one.
He's done a lot more stuff too. Like, besides acting, he's a pretty respected producer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. I mean, it's kind of spotty career, some highs, some lows, but I think his highs are really, really good. Boogie Nights, Three Kings, and even recently The Fighter. Like you said, when it came to producing, he produced The Fighter, and I mean Entourage. I don't know if you watch Entourage, but I love that show. I think it's really, really good, and it's based on his life. Blah blah blah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's gone downhill a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
But that first season is still clutch.
Top notch.
All right, good times. I can support that shit. My number 2, our first female that we're seeing on the list so far, and that is Cher. Okay. I honestly think that Cher is a great actress. Okay. And I think that she has done herself a disservice with the whole plastic surgery thing in the most recent years, because she can't emote the way that she used to be able to. But, like, come on. When she first started making that transition, Silkwood, Mask, Moonstruck, like, she just had great stuff. She is a really fucking good actress. I mean, Moonstruck is one of my favorite films. One of the most offbeat, crazy, hard to pull off romantic comedy type films I've ever seen, and I really can't picture anyone else in that role. I really can't. I
agree with you, but unfortunately for me, Moonstruck is probably the only film of hers that I've seen. What about her other stuff?
You never seen Mask?
Oh, Mask. Sorry. I'm off my game today. I'm sorry. But
no, honestly, like, she needs to be in more stuff. She hasn't done enough films, and I think now, when you start seeing her pop up in stuff like Burlesque, then that doesn't really mean that she's going to be surging back. And I do think, like, she falls into that group of actresses who, as they age, have gone way too overboard with the plastic surgery and just, like, can't really, physically can't act the roles anymore, and that is a shame, because she had so much talent. I read the best interview with her from back right before Mask came out really recently, where she was talking about how she was late in the game as an actress because she was pushing 40, and it's interesting to hear Cher talk about herself that way 20 years ago when she's still clinging to youth. But
yeah, it's unfortunate her, like, now that she's gotten older, she's more known for the plastic surgery than her acting.
She's a great talent in many ways.
Okay. Moving on to my number 2. A rapper. No, it's not Eminem. It's Will Smith.
How many rappers are you, like, worshiping?
I'm trying to give the hip-hop community a little bit of spotlight today, okay?
Yeah, they don't get enough.
But are you going to disagree with me about Will Smith, though? Come on, Will Smith, probably one of the biggest movie stars out there.
He totally supports my argument so far, which is just like if you have enough charisma, you can make the transition completely.
So you think his acting in like Ollie and The Pursuit of Happiness is all just based off his charisma?
No, I think he honestly is a lot of times the best part of the film that he's in. Like, I would make that argument for I Am Legend for sure.
Right.
I would make that argument for probably for Men in Black, certainly for Men in Black 2. Mm-hmm. He's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, but I also think he's probably one of the better actors that I have on my list. Would you agree that he's at least a good actor?
I think he's a good actor. I think he needs to grow a little bit more. Like his acting roles, even the ones that have been well perceived, even the ones that have reached like critical acclaim, have relied a lot upon his own persona and playing against that. I don't mean that as a slam. I mean that as like I want to see what more he can do.
Will Smith, we need to see more.
All right, whatever. My number 1 is one you already mentioned. I acted all cash, but fucking Mark Wahlberg. I love that guy. Like, come on. Actually, everything he's ever done, I can list on either like good movies or guilty pleasures. Like I love that guy. I really do. Like, underwear model turned one of my favorite actors. Honestly, Mark Wahlberg.
I mean, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with you. I mean, he's on my list too. I mean,
a movie that you didn't mention that I think he's really great in is I Heart Huckabees. I'm
not the biggest fan of that film. I'm sorry. Yeah, I intentionally left that one off my list.
Come on, he's so good in it.
I guess.
Oh right. God. Guess where I am? I'm at the fire. Like, come on, that's so funny.
All right. I don't
have anything else to say except for I love Mark Wahlberg. I'm not apologetic about it, and he was my number 1 from the very beginning.
Okay, cool. Moving on to my number 1 non-actor turned actor. Come on, how could you not list Arnold Schwarzenegger? Right?
I didn't even think about Arnold Schwarzenegger because honestly, like, I love the dude, but he's not that good of an actor. And before he was an actor, nobody really gave a shit.
Really? He was probably one of the biggest like athletes like in the entire world.
Nobody cares about bodybuilding, Alan.
Okay.
Name me. Okay, besides like him. Name me another bodybuilder. Name me somebody who's like a top bodybuilder right now.
That's how big he was. He was so big, even in the time when...
No, the point should be that they should have been famous for something else, and then they became an actor. They could be like, he was the best gas pumper in all of the state of Oregon, and then he became a movie star.
He was the best bodybuilder for like 6 or 7 years.
Cared.
You just gave an example about pumping gas.
He wasn't famous for that.
Okay.
I'm disputing this as even
you guys out there, do you agree with me? Arnold Schwarzenegger?
You need to be famous first for something else and then become an actor.
He was totally famous. He was interviewed on The Tonight Show before he even became an actor. Are you saying that he wasn't big back then?
I am saying that.
Okay. Breathe. All right. Is that it?
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's it.
That's
okay.
It.
So that does it for our top 5 non-actors turned actors. Please let us know. Do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger should have been on this list? Yes. Hit it up on MacGuffinPodcast.com. And we'll see you guys next time.